you should take time to learn skills, to read books, to like have mentors, to talk to people in the industry, to build connections.
You're listening to the You Can and You Will show, a podcast that empowers female leaders, high achievers, female executives, and artists to be confident, to overcome their obstacles, and live that exceptional and successful career and life. My name is Catherine Louise, and I'm a business and mindset mentor and communication expert, best known for mentoring female leaders, executives, and artists so that they can flourish in their career and life. And you can and you will. I'm sitting down to share the tools to create that success and lifestyle and how to make an impact. Hi, and welcome back to a brand new episode here on You Can and You Will. If you're new around here, hi, I'm Catherine Louise. I'm a business and mindset mentor. And today I have such a beautiful guest by my side. This is Urmi. Please say hi to Urmi. Do you want to introduce yourself and to my listeners and viewers?
Yes, it'll be my pleasure. And thank you so much for having me. My name is Urmi. I live in Montreal. I work in the financial services industry, so I am a full-time employee. And besides working full-time, I also do a lot of other things. I'm a speaker. I am a blogger, a YouTuber. I'm also a self-published author. And in a lot of my free time, I like to dedicate them to support causes such as women's empowerment. And I am part of an organization called the Women in Leadership. And we have like a couple of chapters within Canada. I'm part of the Victoria chapter, even though I don't live in Victoria. I do this virtually, and basically we organize a bunch of events, all dedicated to empower women. And we have an upcoming one at the end of the month where we'll celebrate National Women in Leadership Day.
Wow. Well, first of all, I'm going to link all of your infos down below just for anybody. I love your website, by the way. And my first question would have to be, do you ever sleep, or does your day maybe have like 50,000 hours each?
You know what? You're not the first person asking me this. Actually, before doing all this, even now that I work full time, I also used to study because I was finishing a certification.
Wow.
And I remember also being asked the same question. You're like, how are you studying for this certification? But you're like hustling all around the place. I'm like, I can do it. I just have good time management skills. And I feel like when you have a passion for something and you have like an end goal, you will always make time. You will always find time. So it's just about like planning and organizing your time well, like literally. So I do get my 8 hours of sleep.
8 hours? Okay, I admire that. I never make it to 8 hours a day. But I love that so much. And I love when I, did my research on you, I loved how you were so passionate about the financial sector. You're working full-time, as you mentioned, in the financial industry. And at the same time, like you're so passionate about empowering women and supporting them. You are a speaker on top. And you know what I figured? We have the very same goal in common. And I'm so geeking out about this. Can you guess it? Do you have an idea?
It's women's empowerment as well. Helping other women.
Yeah, obviously. But I read that one of your top goals would have to be a TED Talk.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the TED Talk is literally on my vision board.
Yes.
I admire that, and I see that because you have that energy that makes it so easy, I believe, in my opinion, for women to really latch onto. And I love how you're like so passionate about that. So what is like your number one driving force to empower women?
That's a good question. I think it's more about the idea of being able to make a change. That's what drives me to do what I do, because I really like being there's this quotation from Gandhi that says, "Be the change you want to see in the world." And when I read that, I really resonated a lot with it. And I was like, I also want to make a change. And I think if you want to make a change, you need to do something. You have to take action. So I was like, where do I start this from? And I felt like I had it inside of me, but I was not quite sure like which tools to take. And then I was like, you know what, let's start like slowly, but slowly let's try a couple of things. So that's how I started with like blog, and then I started to get invited into different like shows, podcast shows, and then I started to do it a lot with volunteering, because I feel like a lot of the times it's not about the monetary value that you get out of things. I think you can still give back with your time and with your knowledge. And so, for instance, like I am part of this organization called Women in Leadership, where I try to promote as much as I can, like more and more women in leadership, and how we can help them by sharing tips. And I work with like along other women as well. But at the same time, also like I am part of this other organization called 100 Women in Finance, and I am a mentor. And so I basically mentor young talents who want to work in finance and want to study in finance. And I was like, you know what, it doesn't have to be like, I don't want to be paid for this, because I think there is so much more value that we can give when we genuinely want to help other people. So I mentor like young talents, and I really enjoy it, because I think of myself when I was younger, what I wish I had back then and I didn't have. But now that I am like much older and I feel like I have this opportunity, why not use it? So I feel like even the fact that we are all virtual made us a little bit more connected in a way, because I was able to connect with this other different organization. I'm able to volunteer for these people, even though I'm not there like physically. So I would say it's just the idea of being a change that drives me every day.
That is so powerful. I have goosebumps all over. It is so powerful because also how you like put so much effort in it, of your time, of your energy, and really emphasize on volunteering. But I truly believe when you're so passionate about that, the universe is going to reward you at some stage for sure. I'm so positive about that. And I love how you support young people, specifically saying, okay, I just, want to help them, knowing that, I might have not had the most easiest road to this life that I'm living today. And I think that this is so special about you. I truly appreciate that. So what do you think is your greatest inspiration to do all of this? Because it's still a lot of different things. Like how do you take that energy for?
You know what? I take it from a lot of women that I follow, I have to say.
Wow.
Yeah, I think a lot of the women, especially like I usually talk about celebrity women that I really feel very inspiring. There are a bunch of actresses that I follow, and it's not just for their acting skills, but it's more about what they give back to the community, how they present themselves. And these women have been a lot of source of inspiration, like Meghan Markle, who I admire so much. And also the women around me, like a lot of my friends as well, they are a good support system for me. And I really value the things that they do for themselves, for the community. So I also take it from them. It's just the people that I have around me. And also from the women that I volunteer with. Those women are also a lot of inspiration for me, because I see how much they put an effort into achieve their goals. And even though they're like full-time employee, they have like personal commitment and stuff like that, they still find the time to give back. And I feel like the fact they were like all together, it's just beautiful. So those people have been my source of inspiration.
That's amazing. So talking about supporting young people, what would be your number one financial advice to everybody listening? Do you have like on the top of your head, do you have anything that you're like, okay, you really have to know this?
I would, there are so many, but I will stick to one for now.
Okay.
I would definitely say, like, especially to young people, it's start investing early. Because it just helps to build your financial wealth. And it's also because of the power of compounding and stuff like that, you are able to grow your money. And if you start young, you get to benefit from the long-term investing. So that's very, very important. And unfortunately, I feel like a lot of people don't do it early enough, because they're like, oh, I have all the time in the world. And you know what? I am also at fault at this, because I also felt like when I was a kid, no one ever taught me about this.
Yes.
And I didn't know much about it until even I was like a student in finance. Even then, no one told me about it too much. Like it's because it's like personal finance, and no one teaches you this at school, even when you're doing an undergraduate in finance. And so I think it's important as young people to start investing as much as you can and to benefit from that. And you have like money working for you. Like you're not working for it, it's money working for you, which is
Yes.
the good thing about it. Yeah.
It's a biggie. And I really believe that school system is, it needs to step up when it comes to financial education for sure. So talking about empowering young people, what do you feel like is your biggest, I almost want to say task? Like, what do you see as the biggest part where you really want to empower them and support them? What is that number one topic? What would that have to be?
I would say through education.
Mm,
And by education, I mean like, because we just talked about like investing, but I also mean investing in yourself. I think that's so important. I feel like not many people do that as much as they are supported where we live in, especially for like young women and talents. You should take time to learn skills, to read books, to like have mentors, to talk to people in the industry, to like ask people that you know, build connections, because I think that's very, very important to learn about the things that is happening around you. I think that would be like my number one suggestion that I would tell people is just to take time to invest in yourself. Like even like if you love something, for instance, like you have a passion for cooking, then go ahead and take like cooking classes. If you feel like you have a lot of recipe, why don't you like create a cooking book recipe, just to use your skills and to follow your intuition, your curiosity to try new things out. Because I feel like, and this is what happened, especially when you start working, is that life gets like this instead of going this way. And I personally just goes this way.
mhm.
And we forget to take time to like really nourish our body and soul and to do the things that we love. And I think this happens especially like when you're young, it doesn't happen because you're like going to school, you have fun and stuff like that. But when you start working, it just hits you right away. And I think it's important to like take the time to invest in yourself. And I think it's important to remember this from a young age.
I love that so much because it is so important talking about that because so many young people specifically, but also people in my age, I'm 40, okay? Also, people in my age do believe that when we talk about investing, it would have to be like housing or, I don't know, shares, whatever, but really your number one investment should be yourself, your education, because nobody can ever take that away from you. And I think we learn a big part about that in this day and age, don't we? For like this entire, past 3 years to be exact. So I really love how you're pointing that out. And I love you talking about self-care because that would have to be one of my number one things I really want to emphasize on. So do you mind sharing with us like your favorite self-care kind of thing? Like what do you feel what you have so much on your plate? What do you feel like really makes a difference for you?
Okay, I'm gonna go with something very silly. I like to eat chocolate.
You like chocolate? Oh,
Yeah, it's so good. It's so good. Like I like to have chocolate with a good coffee, and that's like one thing that I do for my own self-care, for my own like mental sanity, I would say. That's one thing that I enjoy doing. I also enjoy a good plate of pasta. That's part of my
mm,
self-care. I don't care, even though it's like fat or whatever. And I also do like now that it's nicer outside, one thing that I enjoy doing is running because I feel like it gives
oh.
me that sense of freedom.
Mhm.
And then like running outside in the nature, stay in the nature, just
Yes.
being disconnected from the world. And also the other one is I used to do Muay Thai a couple of months ago, and I totally fell in love with that. It was something completely like to change my mind about Muay Thai and boxing and like martial arts. And this is something that I really, really enjoy because I'm literally like disconnected from everything. I am present. 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 when I go to do Muay Thai, I can see the type of people that are there. It's completely different from people that I would hang out with. But I like that because I feel like it just gives me a different perspective about different people. And the other thing is also like spending time with yourself. And I think people don't do it enough, or maybe we do, but we're afraid of saying no. And I think that the me time is really, really like important, like super important.
It is so important. And I don't want to make you jealous or something, but I just had a big old plate of pasta. I'm sorry,
It's
I
so
just had
good.
to say it. But
It's just so good.
it is so good. But I so agree. And I just really appreciate how you just said, like, spend time with yourself and your own thoughts, because it almost seems like especially what you also mentioned before, you first go to school, have fun, then suddenly you start working life. And, things tend to get kind of different then, especially when
Mm-hmm.
you're really striving towards that career. You just work a lot of hours. And, specifically young people then also really still want to spend time with their friends and stuff, which is totally fine. But they tend to not have that balance right from the
Mm-hmm.
get-go. And
Mm-hmm.
then, this is when things on the long term specifically really get rough. So really try to have that alone time and listen to your own thoughts. I think that is so important. With, doing all of the things that you do, I'm still admiring that. And on top of that, getting 8 hours of sleep. Now I'm kind of jealous over here in a good way though. Um, what would you say? I mean, I would believe, especially when you're working with so many young people, which probably also have some rough stories, but coming along. Um, what do you say? What is your support system? Like when you have a rough day, when you're feeling down, maybe you're exhausted, what do you tend to do? What is like that source of energy and strength?
So I usually try to talk it out, and I do
Mm.
have like a couple of friends with who like I can share all these things. That would be my first step. And the other one is literally like not to engage with too many people at the same time. Like I just only talk to some friends if I'm really stressed, but I try to like disconnect from the other part of the world. And I do take a lot of like long walks on my own. And I also try to journal it, which I think has been helping a little bit because you are writing down your thoughts.
Yes.
And I also find it a lot in reading. That's another thing that I do. Like I try to calm myself down by reading, and so like this, I'm like not disconcentrated, but I'm not focusing on other things basically.
Yes.
And that has been helping a lot. And usually that's how I find my comfort. It's in a book because I feel like when you're reading a book, you're like immersed in the story. It feels like you're almost part of it. And I like that because you're just in your own bubble, in your own world. And that's one thing that I really enjoy, especially when I'm like really, really stressed. Yeah.
I love that. What is your favorite book? You want to share it?
My gosh, why?
Okay, you can name three. However you want
Um,
to.
okay, so this one that I really like, and I'm not into romance, but she's such a good writer, and I've read
Uh-huh.
pretty much all of her books. It's It Ends With Us from Colleen Hoover. There is also a movie coming out based on this book. That's probably one of her best books, and it's featuring the movie is featuring what's her name, Black Lively, and Justin Baldani. I don't know if you watch Jane the Virgin. It's the guy who plays Raphael.
Oh, yeah, I think once, yeah.
Yes, that's him. And so anyway, so this is like it's her best book. Like she has written so many books, but this one is her best. Like anyone who wants to read a book from this author, read this one. So
Okay.
that's one. And the other one that I like is I don't remember now the name of the author, but it's called The Boy with the Striped Pajama. It's actually pretty sad, the book. There
Oh,
is a movie about it. It's about a friendship between a Jewish and a non-Jewish, and so it's
oh,
based like during those time. It's so beautiful. Like I cannot explain you because it talks about friendship about these two young kids who do not know what's happening around them, and then they become friends. And there was a movie about it, and I love that book because it's so touching. So that was a most one of the most beautiful books that I have read. And then there is one about self-development, which is called it's about the Ikigai, and I don't remember now the complete full title, but it's about the Ikigai and how to find your passion and how to use them, and
Oh,
how to
so
like
good.
use your passion to monetize your passion, but at the same time you're serving a community and you're like living a fulfilled life. So I really like that book as well. Yeah,
Okay, I have to say, I really especially love the mixture. Like you're going all the places, romance, and then
yeah,
really
yeah.
something really important because a part of my family is Jewish too. So 100% relate. And then, really self-development. I love that. Do you have like, if you don't mind sharing, do you have like any specific goals? Is there like that one thing you're really working towards? Something you feel like that is my future self?
I think I just want to be like, I can tell you what I want to be as an identity, more like I
Hmm.
want to be a confident and dynamic speaker, which is why there's this whole TEDx or TED Talk that I want to do. And actually, I
Relate.
am working really hard to get to that point. I actually spoke to someone today who gave a TEDx, and I was like, okay, I need to know how you did this. So he gave me all these steps, and I'm like, okay, that's it. I actually contacted a few people, and now I want to see how far I can get with that. So that will be like eventually my like goal is to be able to speak confidently without the fear, without any type of like nervousness. Because when I see people speaking on the stage, I actually admire them, and I want to feel the same too when people look at me. So I want to feel admired for being able to give like a speech.
Yes, and you totally have a message to share. I believe it is so strong and is so inspiring and important, especially to not just young people. I know you emphasize on young people, but I believe we all need that. We all need that source of inspiration. Also in the 50s and everything. It is that kind of comforting, inspiring, and also giving hope. I believe what
Mm-hmm.
we do need so much right now, more than probably ever in this century so far, is really hope and to
Mm-hmm.
really do not give up on life. I believe it is so
Mm-hmm.
important. I loved our conversation. Frankly, I could just go on for another 2 hours, but I have five more questions I give to all of my
Oh
guests, and I would
no.
love to know those about you as well. First of all, what is your favorite food ever?
You know what? I feel like I gave it away. I gave it away before
Pasta.
though.
Okay, we agree on
Yeah.
that. Pasta and chocolate. We won't do both.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say so.
Oh, really? We
Pasta and
should
chocolate.
go to
Yeah.
dinner sometime. Like we could order a big old
Yes.
plate of pasta and then have some chocolate afterwards and a coffee. I'm a coffee lover, but I have 3 kids. I need that stuff too. I get it. So if you could take one entire day off, which it doesn't sound like you do that too often, but if you could just have a whole day for yourself, how would that look like? What would you do?
That's such a that's such a tricky question, I feel. I would probably like to do a day trip.
Ooh,
Yeah.
that sounds good. Where would you love to go to?
You know what? Because I live in Montreal, I feel like I cannot say I don't have much of an option. But if I could, I would like to do a day trip in New York.
Ooh, yeah, I get that. Oh, that's so nice. Do you have like any specific place, or would you just love to wander around and go to Central Park?
You can put me anywhere in New York, because I feel like that's more than enough.
Yeah,
Like I just love New York. Anything about New York, I just love it.
same. I actually wanted to move to New York, and then I met my
Me
husband. I
too.
still blame him to this day about that.
Yeah,
So
me too.
I
I will.
100% relate.
Me too. Me too. I feel like I would like to live there actually. It's
Okay,
just so
so
nice.
maybe that's one of your goals for the future.
Maybe.
We'll see. Okay. What is your favorite place on earth? Would that have to be New York then, or is it maybe something different?
And now I do have a second one. I do have a second one. It's Barcelona.
Ooh.
Yeah,
Ooh. Have you been there before?
I did. I did. And I was like, I'm not coming back. I loved it.
You're not coming, but you did. Oh, so
I
thank
did.
God.
I
So, do you
did.
have like any plans on going back there?
Not anytime soon. But I really like Barcelona because it was reminding me of Italy, which is my birthplace. And
Right.
I liked like the whole vibe in Barcelona. The thing that I loved a lot is that it looks like Italy, but everyone speaks Spanish, and I love Spanish. So I was there, I was like, oh, I can do this all day. Like I can just listen to people talking Spanish and never get tired.
Yes, I totally understand. I love Italy too. We actually used to spend all of our summers in my childhood in Italy. So yeah, it's not that far away from us. So I think we should become friends, or me, to be quite honest. We
I
could
think so
first,
too.
should first hit Italy, then go to New York, have that pasta with a coffee and a chocolate. I think we're good. So amazing. Okay. Um, Advice to your younger self. What would that have to be?
Start living your life unapologetically.
Mm,
Yeah,
wow. That's a good one.
thank you.
No, that really is a very good one. I think it is so interesting. Once we gain a little bit of life experience, somewhat, how different things turn out, right?
Yeah,
So that's really a
yeah.
powerful one. And I think we almost answered that before. Well, what would you say is your greatest source of inspiration besides the people around you?
Oh, you know what? I would say so. Of course, I said the women around me. I said Meghan Markle, but if I do have to choose someone, and it would be probably Gandhi, because I used to study him when I was in school, and I see how he did a lot of the things that he did. And I would probably say he's also another inspiration, which is why I really resonate with the quotation that he said, be the change you want to see in the world.
Hmm. I love that. I think Gandhi is such a I don't even know. There's nothing and nobody you could compare him to, like ever. And I love that you mentioned him because I think people should do that more often and listen to his teachings. Because again, today we would need that more than ever before. Urmi, thank you so, so much for this conversation. That wasn't conversation, it wasn't a typical interview, and I appreciate that. Thank you so much for sharing so much of you and what you do. I think it is so important. Please make sure to check out the downloads. I'm going to link everything of Urmi, maybe even a pack to receive. She want to share one. And I will talk to you next week. Bye.
Thank you.